In this episode, I'm going to tell you how I deal with setbacks. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? My name's Michael Sahno, and welcome to the Sea and Land Fitness Podcast, the podcast of professional tactical fitness. This podcast is, of course, brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness, the home of professional tactical fitness. So if you want a program, if you want something to motivate you, head on over to www.sandlfit.com. That's www.sandlfit.com. This podcast is also brought to you by 511 Tactical, makers of some of the best tactical gear and tactical fitness gear. We use their sandbags. So check them out in the link in the description below. Also, we're brought to you by Thorne Supplements, the supplements that what's on the outside of the bottle is on the inside of the bottle. I trust them. I use them. Again, check the link in the description below. And finally, we're also brought to you by RDX Sports, makers of some of the finest combat sports equipment. We use it in our workouts just about every day. I use their gloves for Muay Thai and their focus pad mitts for exercises. Again, link in the description below. Check it out. All right. So what's going on? There's a lot going on. There's two different stories here, but as you probably guessed from the opening, we're dealing with setbacks. We're dealing with little mini failures. And I like to call them mini failures because they're not major failures. They're just little tiny setbacks that we need to work through in order to get to where we want to be. So the first one is, which one is the first one? Which one do I want to tell you about? Which heartbreak do I want to tell you about first? So we'll start with shooting. Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, I have an essential tremor. I am also a pistol instructor at West Point, where I help people, along with a wonderful team of people, learn how to shoot, expand their marksmanship skills, and really, help people work on the fundamentals of marksmanship and firearm safety. So I shake. So when I go to aim the pistol, my hand shakes. So the sights move. I have learned to compensate for that with what are called iron sights. And I just wrote an article. If you want to head on over, I wrote an article for the newsletter. It's also in the articles page of the website, where I talk about this and where I'm really trying to science the shit out of this thing. And it's been difficult. It's been tough, and it's kept me from doing something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. So there is a movement within pistol firearms. And those of you who are aware of it, you'll know this. But those of you who don't, you're going to learn something. So traditional iron sights use a front sight and a rear sight, and you line them up, even top to bottom, and then even side to side. And I'm a real good shot with iron sights. No problem. I can, boom, I put it on target. Whatever's on target is toast. That's it. And Mike Tesaro, shout out to you. You have brought me by leaps and bounds into being what I would call a professional shooter. So for those of you who don't know, in the military, you get a and a really good friend of the channel, Jeff Gerwich, did an amazing video on this. I'll actually put a link to that video in the description. But the Army taught me how to, or actually the Navy taught me how to shoot. And then when I was in the Army, of course, I followed on, but at the same level. What do I mean by that? Not a very high level. The United States military, with the exception of Special Operations Forces, does a deplorable job of teaching people the fundamentals of pistol marksmanship. Everything from grip, sight picture, all of it, recoil management, everything. They do a really shitty job. And because of that, when I started shooting again, for recreation, and my own personal desire to increase my skill set, I wasn't a very good shooter. I was okay. I knew what I needed to do, but my grip was all wrong. I was, looked like someone was shooting a shotgun at the target. The shots were all over the place. But that was the level of training that the Navy and the Army had given me. It wasn't very high. They kind of said, okay, you know how to shoot it. You know how to reload it. Good luck. And that's pretty much the way it is. So I had to learn, and Mike DeSaro, and another gentleman, John Wood, there as well. But the majority of the instruction that I got was from this guy, Mike, who's just a rock star. He brought me up to a level where, I was shooting this tight, okay, at 25 feet. So I'm a pretty good shot with iron sights. But there has been this revolution over the past 10 years of what are called pistol optics. And I'm getting somewhere with this, don't worry. And pistol optics are, if anyone's ever seen, TV shows like The Unit, what do you call it? SEAL Team, they have these little boxes on top of their rifles. And I had experience with that when I was in the Army. It's an EOTech holographic sight. So I had experience using this thing. So I thought moving over to a similar type of sight on my pistol would be just a no-brainer. Not a big deal. Did I mention that I have an essential tremor? So this little tiny sliver red dot is inside a box, a very small box that goes on top of the pistol. So I have to hold the pistol, and you could probably see my hand shaking right now on the camera. Well, that box was moving all over, and the little dot was like a searchlight over the skies of London during World War II looking for Nazi bombers. It was just going everywhere. So this was an untenable, horrible situation. And I had resolved myself to the fact that I couldn't do this. Okay. Well, I can't do this. And, I looked for ways to try to mitigate, to tamp down the tremor. Tried a medication that didn't work. God bless my neurologist at the VA. You are a rock star. She's awesome. I'm going to have a sip of coffee, Peter Madeira. This is for you. But anyways, so I have been really, really trying to figure a way to not shake as much so that my shooting could improve. It's already great. It's already probably way better than 80% of the shooters out there, 75% of the shooters out there. But I it's just me. I want to be good. I want to be great. I don't want to be good at it. I want to be great at it. I want, girls to go, you know what I mean? Like that kind of bullshit. But anyways, I digress. So a funny thing happened. We're going to go back to that guy, Mike, at the range. He gets this new pistol, brand new pistol. And he hands it to me and he says, hey, check this out. This is a cool new pistol. It's got a red dot on it. Tell me what you think. You want to shoot it? And I said, yeah, of course I want to shoot it. Because I'm a 12-year-old boy inside and I want to shoot everything all the time. And so he hands it to me. We're on the range. And I'm noticing, wait, I can really see this dot. I'm not searchlighting all around. So I shoot. My group is super, super tight, tighter than it's ever been. And I'm like, what the crap? This is insane. How is this working? He says, it's a better sight. You've come a long way since you first tried to do it a couple of months ago. Maybe you figured something out, but it's better. You should really try to put a sight on your pistol. So I'm like, fudge. All right. This is going to cost money. So that was my first thought. This is going to cost some money. And it did, but I God bless Scotty, the guy who helps me, because he got me a real good deal. So I'm like, I'm going to try this. I'm really going to try this. Ironically, about a week later, I wound up having an appointment with my neurologist. I tell her the story. She goes, interesting. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? She says, I'm going to send you down to occupational therapy. For what? And she says, to try to figure out a way to overcome this. And I'm like, seriously? You guys would do that at the VA? You guys would help me with this? She said, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is so great. I can't believe this. So I had this thing called a grip module. A grip module is a part of a firearm that's actually not the firearm. It's just the pistol grip. So I had an extra one. So when I called and made my appointment, I said, I'm going to bring this pistol grip and I'm actually going to give it to you. And they were like, yeah, no problem. Bring that in. I was a little nervous at first, but they were fine. So got there. We went through it all. She said my questions were too big. They were too sciencey. I'm a sports scientist. What am I going to do? But she said, we have an electronic device. It's a wearable, like a watch. And I put it on this wrist, or the wrist where I'm experiencing the tremor the most. And it's a therapeutic. I guess it gives intermittent, shocks, stimulation to the nervous system, to the nerves. It's a little mini shock treatment, to be honest. And I'm going to try it. And she actually said, here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to order this thing and have it sent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the rep for the company bring it. And then you can ask all those questions that I couldn't answer, she couldn't answer, to the rep. And hopefully he can answer the question. So I'm really sports sciencing the shit out of this thing. I am so excited. And I had a red dot put on one of my pistols, and it's really interesting and super humbling because I am literally learning from the ground up how to shoot a pistol all over again. The biomechanics of it. So the interesting thing about this, especially from a sports, I keep using the word sports science, but I gotta. The sports science perspective on this is, what am I attending to? So sports psychology. Am I attending to the correct things? So when you use iron sights, you use a lot of your peripheral vision because your hand is here. You can see where the pistol is here on the side, while I'm also looking out at the target, but I can maintain not total focus, but peripheral focus in order to bring myself up and watch that sight come up. When you're using a red dot, you can't do that. You have to go like that, and then you get your sight, which is weird because I'm finding that the biomechanics of that are different than the biomechanics of this, which just made me think maybe I should raise like I'm doing irons and come into my sight. I didn't even think of that. But so there's that. There's attendance, there's biomechanics, um, there's there's just understanding this entire landscape of things that need to be understood in order to do this appropriately, to do it quickly, and to do it safely. So it's a really, really, really fun journey. I love learning. I love sciencing stuff. It's a blast. And then when you tell people what you're doing, they get excited about it because sometimes maybe shooting sports aren't in their wheelhouse, um, or on the spectrum of things that they even study. But then you see their eyes light up when they go, "Oh, wow, how do you do that?" Which brings me to my next disappointment. It's not a failure, and it's not anything anyone has done. In the same way, this is not disappointing at being able to go. So it with the shooting and the iron sights to the red dot, there's disappointment in that I have this skill in this way that is not translating to a skill with the red dot. And I feel like I should be better. I should be better at this. And I need to, back off a little bit, which I have, and I've made a game plan for how to get better, work the problem, resolve this. And that's a little tough to do when you're at a level here and you have to start all over again down here. I think it's going to be, once I get the knack of it, boom, I'm going to be right back up and probably even better. But speaking of sports science, ding, I need to have a timer or someone with a little bell ringing it every time I say that word, sports science. So speaking of this, I would like to get my doctorate. I'm very specific, and finicky and picky, and yes, I'm a child. No, I'm not. I want to be with the right person who works the best with me and will give me what I need in order that we both become the best that we can be. So I'm in the market for my doctorate. I would like to get my doctorate. So I would also like to get my doctorate from the University of Florida, go Gators, where I graduated from with my master's. Um, it it's one of the best institutions on the planet, and I've made wonderful friends in the department that are just going to be lifelong friends. They're just wonderful people. Doc Mann, Doc Beatty, Dibomani, Doc Harrison, come on, of course, Doc Max Adolphs. You guys are just your family to me. So I wanted to extend that family a little bit more. And I have. And I had a wonderful meeting with Doc Christou and Doc Yakubi, who run um, the neurophysiology lab. I probably got that wrong. Um, oops. No, the neuromuscular physiology lab. And Doc Christou works, and he's written some amazing papers on essential tremor. So, I gravitated towards him, which was amazing the way things work out, because he just happens to be one of the coolest, nicest, just awesome guys you can ever meet. Doc Yakubi's amazing too. And I want to work with him. I want to work with him to get my doctorate. But I got an email today, and that email solidified, if there was any doubt, that I absolutely want to work with him. And it was I'm sorry I don't have the room right now, and I want to be able to give as much attention as I can to my current PhD students and someone, but I hope that in the future, we keep this relationship going. What a magnanimous spirit. What a great guy. What just a righteous dude. Someone who wants to take care of what they've got by giving it everything that they've got. You can't fault that at all. It's one of the reasons why my gut was telling me to go with them. I knew that's what this guy was like. So now I want to be in his lab even more. I sent him an email that said, if there's anything I can do, experiences, certifications, anything like that to make me more attractive to the lab, then let me know. I'll work. Boom. I'll do whatever I need. But yeah, it's not a gut punch. It's just, I'm not disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in the fact that the opportunity is not there right now. But I'm actually willing to hold off on my academic journey in that sense, by another year. But I'm not willing to hold off on my academic journey in terms of what I do with Sea and Land Fitness. I'm writing articles. I'm posing problems, trying to solve my own problems, trying to solve the problems that other people have. And another thing that I want to do, and that I've always wanted to do, and I think I've been afraid. I think I've been afraid of it. But I want to use this interim time well, productively. So what I'm going to do, I just had a big talk with one of my business partners, Norberto Carrasquillo, which my car says Norberto Carrasquillo because can't pronounce Spanish names. And I always call him when I'm in the car, just so it comes up, just to take him off. We came up with the idea that we are going to run a line of t-shirts. So we got a bunch of sort of motivational t-shirts that are coming out. We are going to do our workout hats and our trucker hats and a couple of stickers and a couple of patches. And we're going to get those out, and we're going to actually try to get them into the Army, Navy, and the Air Force exchanges. Do a small line. I'll probably have to make a pitch for it and stuff like that. But I want to be out there. And the more people who have eyeballs on what we do, who are part of the honey badger community, the more knowledge we can transfer to them in a very simple manner. One of the things that I try to do is I try to take the heady science stuff and simplify it in a digestible form without all the academic vernacular, the, lingo that we use interpersonally in the academic environment. I'm trying to skim that away to the basic so that you at home can use the cool stuff that we learn that we want you to use, but that we're too brainy to simply tell you how it's done. So that's my big task. My big task is simplifying the concepts for you guys. So please head on over to that part of the website, the articles part, or subscribe to the newsletter, and you'll get that. We honor a Medal of Honor winner every month. And I give you an exercise every month. So, and a couple of sports science terms so that you can figure out, I simplify it for you. So, yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking that, and it's not a defeat, but I'm taking the disappointment of not being able to do something that I want to do right now, and instead directing that energy into something that can help you guys and help me, by letting you guys know about us. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited about all the stuff that the VA is doing for me with my essential tremor. And Doc Christou, man, I love you, brother. Don't worry about it. It's totally, I understand. But if you need me, call me. I'm there. All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. As I said in the beginning, we're brought to you by Sea and Land Fitness. Head on over to www.sandlfit.com. That's www.sandlfit.com. We've got programs. I actually have to get the Tier 1 program, and I said last time on the podcast that I was going to get the boxing gloves up, because we got boxing gloves into the store, RDX boxing gloves, and that's what I use for Muay Thai. So let me take care of that stuff, but also check out all the other stuff. We got Garmin watches. If you can't afford a Garmin watch, we also have Sunto watches. They're great watches if you are needing a tactical timepiece. That might be the way to go for you. Trying to think what else we got. Yeah, we got hats. We got new stuff coming, all that stuff. So head on over to the website. We are also brought to you by 511 Tactical. So head on down into the link in the description below. We use their sandbags because they make one of the best sandbags. We also use their plate carriers. I use them. Basically every time I work out, I put it on and do a mile walk under weight, under load, and then go do my workout to get kind of a warm up. So head on over there, check them out. Check out Thorne Supplements. They're in the description below. Again, that link will take you to my dispensary, where you get 10% off all of the supplements that I use. If you see something in there, or you see something that you want to be in there on the website, send me an email. I'll put it in 10% off so you can get it. And then finally, we are brought to you by RDX Sports. As I said, boxing gloves, combat sports. I love the gear, love it, and it's all reasonably priced. And we have the focus mitts, and I'm going to put the boxing gloves into our store. Focus pad mitts are already there. So yeah, go on over. If you check the link in the description below, we have a 10% code that you can use on checkout. And if there's something you want us to carry in our store from there, let me know. We'll take care of it. All right, that's all I got. Honey Badger Actual out.